going on. I think that it's going on more than likely, and I believe it could be man-made. I think it's likely man-made, but that I don't know. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, let me backtrack. This climate change thing is actually something that I've been following for longer than most people have. When I got thrown into a gifted program when I was in elementary school, and gifted, I'm pretty sure it's an acronym that's like Latin or something for I want to put my kid in this class so he gets his ass kicked by dumb kids for a few years. Yeah. But anyways, one of the things that we had to do as part of this gifted program is this thing called Future Problem Solvers. Now, this was 1987 or 88 that I was in this, and the first thing that we dealt with, and we dealt with for 3 years, where they were teaching 10-year-olds about future problems, was global warming. Mm-hmm. So at that time, they had anecdotal evidence at best showing the effects of greenhouse gases, and since then the case has just gotten stronger and stronger. So for me, it's absolutely happening. But to get back to what your point is the United States has kind of been the one that's been more asleep at the wheel as far as making changes in the way we do things to try to at least slow down the effects of man-made greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah.
But the UN, so essentially the international community, is kind of modeling out these predictions of what can happen if certain sea levels rise, or if droughts hit in certain areas. And what they're starting to realize is that there's just going to be massive amounts of resource wars, because the people who be disproportionately affected through droughts or a rise in sea levels are the poor. So they think what will happen is, and I'm sure it will happen, there's going to be resource wars that erupt randomly in countries, Mm-hmm. So the way I read this thing is they're basically going to be the interventionists to try to stop people from killing each other if resource wars start.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why they need a different helmet for that. I mean, it's...
Because that's what because we're talking about sheep, essentially. We're talking about people. You know what I mean? That's the perfect kind of thing. You know what I mean? To, I guess, I don't know, what's the word? I was thinking trigger, but get the people to respond. That's the kind of thing they're going to follow. I don't know. Does that make sense? Change the damn hat, I don't know. From my understanding... I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, I don't know. I was just kind of wondering if there's something even more captivating about the green helmet than it being not light blue. Does it have a propeller on top or something where people
No, it looks just like a G.I. Joe helmet from I think it was MP. I don't know. There's a few G.I. Joes that I remember having a helmet, but it looks just like it if this is an actual real deal UN green helmet.
Well, then they should have made everyone dress up like Storm Shadow or something to be the leaders of the sheep. That'd be way cooler than just a green helmet. That's
I think you could only have one Storm Shadow. It's I don't know, but that is a good idea. You know what I mean? We should totally have the UN, our military, like that. At least someone should do it. You know what I mean? Where they build an elite strike force. And it'd be a good reality show. I'd watch it.
So what's your understanding of this UN thing?
Well, from my understanding of climate change, a lot of its proponents in the realm of politics have very much to gain, and I do mean money, and just power and influence in general. Apparently there is, and I don't know much about it, so I'm just telling you what's been reported and what I've heard, okay? But there is some sort of carbon credit-esque, essentially trading platform, like a carbon emission cap and trade Wall Street, but in Chicago. And
that went out of business already.
Did it?
Yep.
Well, the conspiracy theory was...
I actually know one of the guys that started that thing.
Really? That's super interesting. The conspiracy theory goes something like that, what Al Gore and Obama and all the Chicago cronies and whatnot were going to become billionaires from making all these companies trade carbon credits, through their little trading scheme platform deal. Everyone would be basically, every trade, obviously, these people are going to be making money for each transaction. I don't know, fill in the blank. You know what I mean? Just extrapolate from there. And
right.
So, from my understanding, that all of the, cap and trade, and it's a global agenda. You know what I mean? So really what it's coming down, the UN is a global police force, and what we're getting into is one world government global conspiracy theory. I'm not exactly the best person to tackle that and explain it, but I'm probably better than the average person. So if you have any questions about where the, New World Order type of thing, then I'd do my best to sort of, fill you in and tell you where I stand on it. Now, the idea of the Illuminati or, Freemasonry, that sort of thing, I just don't know. Again, I'm an artist. I'm a dreamer. You know what I mean? So the idea that there is,
the only one.
There is an Illuminati. Like I'm pretty sure that there is a historical Illuminati. Born in whatever Germany, some Freemasons, Scottish Freemason, right? Whatever. I don't fucking know, and I don't care. Okay, because there's nothing I can do about it. And that's pretty much my litmus test for my give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, take the Illuminati, stick it in, whatever. Can I do something about it? Nope. Okay, moving on. You know what I mean? Is there an Illuminati? I don't care. But
I don't think there really even needs to be.
Exactly.
Mean, the Illuminati and the Freemason stuff, I know the Masons exist, and, George Washington was a Mason, blah, blah, blah. But I just think that, when it really comes down to it is, the Masons and all that crap, I don't think are actually as interesting as people would like them to be.
Yeah,
I
totally.
really look at groups like that as a bunch of rich guys that like to jerk each other off and talk about how they're, the kings of the world and how many hookers they get and their wife is none the wiser. And
I think you smacked the nail right on the head when you said that it doesn't matter. See, really, what it comes back to when we come back down to reality, you know what I mean? That this is how I look at it, and I guess I don't know if this applies to Robert Joseph's razor because I can't even remember what it was. But is it within the realm of possibility? Okay, well, look, everyone wants to rule the world. Okay, let's just look at this really simply. Do people want power? The answer is abso-friggin-lutely. So the idea that there's going to be a cabal or a group, a hierarchy of people who are trying to rule the world is not only within the realm of possibility, but very likely and I would say inevitable. So here's the thing: is do I believe that there is a elite of the world, leaders of business, of actual money creation? We're talking about the central banks and central banks of central banks, the IMF. And so are these institutions being wielded by an elite group of people in order to create crises, in order to gain power, and then rule the world, essentially? And I would say that is, yeah, why not? A new world order, a one world government. Are we in danger of seeing that? I would say absolutely. And it's a problem because I believe in sovereignty. In a nation's sovereignty, and that's really what it's a question of. I don't know. But thoughts on this?
Well,
before we close.
I honestly don't think anyone's is trying to do like a one world government, but I do think there are elites in economically developed countries who have very closely aligned interests because they all
manipulating money, manipulating currency. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the issue is even really power that much. Power is this nebulous thing. Who really gives a shit about power? These people are money hungry. They're just greedy.
Well, that's the thing. We can say power, but then when you got those who are disenfranchised and those without it, that's when it becomes, a big deal.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? Same thing with money. I
just don't think these people are looking at trying to do a self-coronation. I think their interest in power is in the way that they can make more money by able to influence it.
You're exactly right, because we're both right. See, and that's the reality, and that's what I'd like to see. Is there an elite, this one world? Yeah, absolutely. But is there agenda to rule the world? No, they're just greedy fucks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's the marriage.
And you brought up the IMF, and that's an organization that I've had problems with as a very liberal person for a long time. Mm-hmm. Because the IMF, whenever a country gets in financial trouble, there's the IMF with its deep pockets, and they dangle it around there like a stripper trying to get you to go in the champagne room. Mm-hmm. But there's always a trade-off, though. They never give it to you and just say, take care of your people. In fact, what the IMF always does is they did this in Mexico, they've done this in tons of South American countries, they've done this in Africa, is they basically give these countries money, but it's based on conditions, and the conditions are always dismantling the welfare state. So basically, a country that's already in trouble where the people are on the brink of not being able to feed themselves, the first things that go are the mechanisms that government had in place to take care of their people. So they start doing things like privatizing utilities, mm-hmm. or privatizing, transit systems when those used to be free for the citizens. It was covered under their taxes, But, and it's these exact same people that when these things get privatized, they're the ones that know where to invest because they know who the likely purchasers of these companies are,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a completely messed up system.
So in closing, because we got to wrap this puppy up, because once again, we've produced way too much material to even use. But unlike last time, I think the difficult. I mean, it's all really good, usable stuff. I've enjoyed talking to you, and it's just basically great. So thanks for sticking around. But in closing, so what can we do? I mean, and just in your estimation and in your opinion, someone who listens to this production, whatever it ends up being included in it, just today, right now, what would you tell them? What can they do to make things just a little bit better for themselves, for those around them, for tomorrow?
Oh, wow. You were putting me on the spot with that one.
Yeah, I hear you. You know what I mean? Just something simple and applicable, and it doesn't even have to revolve. I mean, and I understand where the difficulty in answering that question comes, and I trust me, I don't mean to put you on the spot or whatever, but just, you got all the time in the world. Just something simple, because a lot of times we make this kind of stuff a little bit too difficult. And
you know what? I guess there is something really simple that people can do, and that's just give a shit.
Yeah.
I guess if I could wrap it up, it's just give a shit. Quit watching American Idol, read a book, or at least even watch CNN, even if you're only going to get 1/8 of the news. Just do something to make yourself smarter about what's going on.
I mean, that's really, because what you touch on is the real quintessential problem. I've said it many, many times, and I just don't really know how to articulate it very well most of the times I try to say it. Hopefully this time will be a little bit different. But what we're facing, it's not a political problem. You know what I mean? It's the budget, the debt crisis, the gun control. It's not, man. It's the problem that we face, and the crisis that we face is the lack of sympathy, of empathy, and it's just a very human problem. You know what I mean? Because yes, the one thing that we can do is just start to give a shit. But you know what? People just don't. And that's a hard gap to bridge. Because it's a catch-22. Because in order to make the difference, you have to give a shit. But the difference we're talking about making is actually giving a shit. So,
it's the problem with empires. We've become the Roman mob.
So ultimately what Crisis Club would also like to concern itself with is what to do when this shit comes crashing down. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much you give a shit. You're just going to have to weather this storm. It's something that, I want to try and integrate into the show a little bit more and just find that perfect balance of, how to return to a civil society and what to do in case of the implementation of Mad Max days. You know what I mean? Where green-helmeted people from strange countries are, fill in the blank.
And Tina Turner's running a pig shit farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess that part would be kind of awesome, though.
Sure. Well, I guess that's really what I'm saying is, like, start designing your costume now. You know what I mean? And that's the other part of Crisis Club, and I'm not kidding. Make a sweet